Today, the authorities announced a resumption of the Conviasa line flags from the U.S. under the Back to the Homeland plan, with the aim of returning nationals who have been victims of the Coyotes' criminal networks of human traffickers led by the far-right extremists. The government will use national airplanes to bring back Venezuelans deported from the U.S. to take care of their dignity and human rights. Likewise, those accused by the U.S. government of being a member of criminal gangs will be subject to a rigorous investigation. Ecuador will return to the polls on April the 13th to elect the country's president after neither of the two most voted candidates, Luisa González and Daniel Noboa, obtained a difference of +1 of the valid votes, nor the 4% with difference of 10 points over the second. Let's see more details.
Después de una jornada electoral extensa,
after a long election day, Ecuador is preparing for a second round of elections to be held on April 13th. This after the National Electoral Council confirmed on February 9th that the candidates with the highest scores, Luisa González and Daniel Noboa, did not obtain 40% with a difference of 10 points over the second to win in the first round.
For Pablo
Meriguet, political analyst, the results reflect the urgency of a change of mandate in the country. Otherwise, he indicates the margin of difference in the tallies, which present less than 1 point of difference, should be greater.
I believe this is a result that few people expected. That is to say, such a radical polarization, a very strong polarization was expected, but it was not expected that both positions would agglutinate almost 89% of the votes. Nobody saw that coming. In fact, now it is almost vis-a-vis the two. In fact, there is less than a percentage point difference in the valid votes. And that showed that something has changed in the Ecuador.
But
what are the problems that the new command will face? What changes should it implement? For citizens, one of the main problems that requires urgent attention is the security crisis, which according to figures from the National Police, violent deaths in January reached 750 cases. It is also important to note that, according to figures from the Ministry of the Interior, between January and December 15, 2024, an average of 19 people were murdered every day.
The Ecuadorian people must realize that we definitely have to look for economic development and educational preparation. In short, because it is so ugly that people have to speak badly of Ecuador abroad, when Ecuador had a very specific name worldwide. Because we were doing well, and now we have to hide in fear. What a shame.
The energy crisis is another of the main points to be faced, because this crisis has resulted in economic losses. For example, according to the productive sector, power outages generate around $4 billion in losses per month, while in the industrial sector alone, an estimated $20 million are lost every night of blackout.
The new government would have to face many issues, such as insecurity, everything. The country is in pieces. The country needs a true leader to take the country forward.
Citizens remain expectant for the elections on April 13th, when Ecuador will elect the president for a period of 4 years, that is, until 2029.
In Guatemala, a Mayan collective has denounced the responsibility of industries with solid waste collected from the bottom of Lake Atitlan with the support of more than 50 divers.
More than 50 internationally renowned divers changed their mission of rescuing lives to face a new challenge, collecting solid waste at the bottom of Lake Atitlan in the department of Solola.
Today we are in this activity because we know that we also have to contribute to nature, so, I repeat, These are people who come today to donate their time.
Is an initiative of the Tazananya Collective from San Pedro La Laguna, Solola, which for more than a decade has fought against contamination, aimed at healing and rescuing Lake Atitlan.
There is environmental racism here because we, the indigenous women, the indigenous communities, end up picking up the waste. We end up depositing this garbage that the big industries have generated.
The leader's words are translated into numbers. The divers collected more than 1,500 pounds of waste, washed in by the rains from communities that do not have waste treatment plants.
We found a lot of non-recyclable material, iron, ferrous, and many tires, so that occupies a large amount of volume in hard plastic, pipes, elbows.
The sorting of this waste reflects the negative externalities of industries that do not calculate the harmful impacts of their products and packaging, suggests one of the villagers.
Everyone calculates their profits, calculates their labor, calculates their raw materials. Everything is calculated. But what they don't calculate is their solid waste.
On February 11th, 2025, Governmental Agreement 164-2021 comes into effect, which requires the classification of solid waste at the national level, a practice that San Pedro Laguna implemented since 2016.
Santiago Botón, teleSUR, Guatemala.
Once again, the Mexican government requests to add calmly in the face of the announcement by U.S. President Donald Trump to impose tariffs now on steel. Our correspondent Daniel Rosas with the details.
Calm in the face of the White House measures. This is the strategy to be followed by the Mexican government for the time being.
We found out the same from yesterday's publication in the media. Well, let's wait. It is as I say, calm on this. Let's wait to see if he announces something today, and from there we will take our definitions.
Mexican media echoed Trump's announcement as he favorable on Sunday.
Today I'm simplifying our tariffs on steel and aluminum so that everyone can understand exactly what it means. It's 25% without exceptions or exemptions. And that's all countries, no matter where it comes from, all countries. If made in the United States, however, United States of America, there is no tariff, it's zero. So if it's made in the United States, there is no tariff. All you have to do is make it in the United States. We don't need it from another country.
The Nuevo Laredo Customs Brokers Association, responsible for 80% of North American trade treaty transactions, has called for unity in the face of the U.S. president's onslaught. The imposition of tariffs will affect Trump's allies and voters. In addition, the TMEC, which he himself negotiated, will be revised in 2026. And that is where Mexico should focus its strategies because the relocation of companies continues to be a competitive advantage for Mexico. The recent announcements made by the U.S. president could be part of a strategy known as flooding the zone. That is, bombarding with information to alter the reaction of the counterpart, explains this analyst.
What is the problem? We don't know which of these statements will be taken seriously or which ones will be followed up. It is not so much that it is just a strategy and should be dismissed, but the problem of this strategy of filling and stuffing with information, we don't know which one is true.
Mexican strategy may therefore be correct, he adds.
I think Claudia Sheinbaum's strategy is very good, in terms of a cool head, in terms of knowing strategically what needs to be done step by step.
Mexico is the third country from which the United States buys the most steel, after Canada and Brazil, with 12.2% of the annual total, according to data from the American Iron and Steel Institute.